pico CTF. It's an amazing platform which offers capture the flag challenges in various categories like web exploitation, cryptography, reverse engineering, forensics, binary exploitations, and many more miscellaneous concepts. I've been thinking to make videos on the Pico CTF challenges for a long time. Finally, I'm here. Gonna begin with a simple web exploitation challenge called local authority. And the local authority, it's a simple challenge. If you are a beginner and if you are having minimal experience to the programming languages, then you can take this challenge because it's a beginner level challenge. We are going to review the leaked code in order to understand the behavior of the web application, and finally we are going to find the logic behind its function, and we are going to crack this challenge. So without wasting the time, let me get into this. The local authority, there is not much described here. Can you get the flag? And they directly gave the website link. First of all, let us see the website. Here you can see the URL. It is not a secure site, HTTP site only. And the URL is saturn.picoctf.net, and there is a custom port. And the website says it's a secure customer portal. Only letters and numbers are allowed for username and password. It simply contains a login screen. There's simply username and password box and a login button. It looks like a simple web application. When I am trying to enter a simple username password like admin, I'm getting the message login failed. And you can see the URL bar. It says login.php. From this header, from this URL, we can assume this web server is using the PHP language at the backend to perform the web server activities. So you can see that login.php. It looks like this script is handling the authentication activity of this web server. So what we need to do, from this login attempt, we are not getting any idea. We simply got to know it's an application which accepts the username and password, and also it accepts the username and password which are in letters and numbers only. We are not allowed to use any special characters. And I'm simply trying another pair of credentials, guest. Again, I'm getting the same outcome, login failed. Here they mentioned only letters or numbers allowed. So why don't we use a special characters and see what would be the outcome. So let's do that. I'm adding an ampersand and few more special characters in the username, and also I'm just appending the same special characters at the password. Uh, when I click login, I can see a different message, illegal character in username and password. So they gave a message, and also they derived a logic to fulfill this condition. Whenever the special characters is used, it is simply ignoring, or it is simply throwing a different error to the user. All right. Now we have to understand the behavior of this login page. For that, Burp Suite is an excellent tool. Burp Suite is a web application proxy. By using that tool, we may intercept the traffic that we are sending to the web server, and also we can able to intercept the response that we are receiving from the web server. So the tool is very handy. I highly recommend to use this tool whenever you are up against any web application. Now I am opening this tool, and I was trying to access this web application from a Chrome browser, but since I installed the Foxy proxy extensions on the Firefox, I'm simply throwing the application, I'm simply spawning the application on Firefox. And here I started the Burp Suite. Once you started to the Burp Suite, you have to enable the interception. I'll explain how to do that. and you can go to the option proxy here. Here under the proxy option, there is an option called intercept. Here you have to click this option. Intercept is on. You can see now it illuminated. So now the proxy is functioning. The proxy is running. You can see the proxy configuration here. If you go to the options, you can see it is running on the local loopback address and the port 8080, and the proxy is running now. Now let's get into this Firefox and go to this Foxy proxy extension and the proxy options. I'm simply clicking this proxy. I already configured it, so I'm simply clicking. If I go to the options, I can witness its IP and its port. So this is how that you have to configure you have to set up the Burp Suite interception, which is very simple. It is already configured and I also enabled the proxy. Now we are good to trigger the request to the web server. I'm simply using the username and password as admin and admin, and the interception is enabled. I'm clicking login now. You can see it keeps loading. It will not complete its loading process because we intercepted this request with Burp Suite. Here you can see the request that we are sending to the web server. We are sending a post request, which means we are sending some information to the web server, and we are sending the post request to login.php. So we are posting this specific information to this specific login.php script. All right. Now you can see the username is admin and the password is admin, which is what we have mentioned. I can do one thing. I can right click and I can pass this request to the repeater. Repeater is another application, another feature in the Burp Suite where we will be able to modify the request that we are sending, and we can see the respective response from the web server. Now we are not going to modify the request, simply we are going to observe what we are getting as a response from the web server. And I am clicking the button send, and within a few fraction of seconds I am getting the response. The top 6 lines are headers from the server, so we can simply use these headers to understand about the server. It's an Nginx server, and you can see the date and time which is in the server, which is configured in the server. And also you can see the HTTP response over here. I simply copied it, or you can simply right click and copy it into the file, so that we will be able to analyze this stuff, what we are getting. It looks like, you can see here, it contains a HTML code followed by a JavaScript, and you can see some functions are present here, which looks like, it looks like it leaks some sensitive code block. So why don't we take a chance and go through this code block? So as I said before, I'm just saving it into a file. I already created a directory for this, and I'm just opening that file. I already stored the file in the document called leaked code. So I'm simply opening it with the Sublime text editor. The first 6 lines are a response header. Now we need to analyze the response code that we have received, and you may see it's a HTML statement, a simple HTML statement that defines the title, and it beautifies the title. And here you can see they are calling the JavaScript, an external JavaScript they are referring with the script tag, which is nothing but the JavaScript. You may see the secure.js, which is an external JavaScript. And if you scroll down a little bit, we can see the form when we are filling that username and password. So this is the login form. When we fill this, it is simply posting those username and password into this admin.php. So this line is all about. And if you scroll down further, you can see the further JavaScript where a function is defined, and subsequently there is a variable, an object called window.username and window.password, and both values are admin. I wish to explain what it is, because when I was trying earlier, I gave the username as admin and the password as admin. So that is what fetched here in this username and the windows.password. Let me prove that. First of all, I need to re-enable that interception. Now I have to give a username and the password. I'm simply giving username as guest and the password as guest. And let's see what the heck is happening. I sent the request to the web server. Here you can see it is intercepting successfully. Uh, let's see. I think this is not the request. Yeah, this is the request that I sent. You can see the username is guest and the password is guest. I'm simply forwarding it to the repeater, and here is the repeater. From the repeater I'm sending, I'm getting the response. You can see the response here, the window.username and the window.password, whatever we gave in the username and the password box, which was simply copied here. So this window.username is getting the username we provided, and the password is getting the password we gave. Now let's look at this code block. Let's check what this function is doing. You can see the function name is filter, and the function call is given here. You can see the function call here, and within the bracket you can see the argument. The argument, whatever we are giving in the username and password, which is passed as an argument within this function called filter. And let's see the function definition. You can see the filter passed. It's the variable which is set as true, which is nothing but which is simply verifying whether the input is given or not. When the input is given, it just mark it as true and moving to that next line. And in the next line, it is a simple for loop where there is an iteration from I equals to 0 to the number which is less than 1 of that string dot length. For example, if I'm giving a word admin, then the total number of characters are 5. Then the iteration will be happening from 0 to 4. 5 less than, I mean, less than 5, which is nothing but I equal to 0 to 4. So that is the iteration. So let's see where this I is being used. You can see in the next line, cc equal to string dot char code at, and in bracket you can see I, which is where we are passing our index. And you can see the character code at function in JavaScript. Let's learn what this function does. Excuse me, I have to disable this. Now let me search it again. Yeah, all right. Here is an example. You can see whenever I am executing this set of code, I'm getting these lines as an outcome. You can see the last line, a number 72, which is nothing but the answer for this specific code block. Here they collected a string hello world into the object text, and then they are using the text object and with the character coded function, and you can see the index value is specified. The index value is 0 here. What is 0? Actually it is taking a string and defining the index. Whatever the index we defined, it is just checking the characters in that index. If it is 0, then it will be checking the value h. If it is 1, then it will check value e. If it is 2, if then it will check the value l. So this is how it functions. And it is actually checking the character code, the decimal value of this equivalent h value, the alphabet. So that is what the decimal value of this h ASCII is nothing but 72, and that's what we have got. If I change it to 1, we will be getting e as an outcome. I mean, we will be getting the character code for e here in this bar. You can see it has changed now. And if I change it to 2 and 3, you will be getting a same number, 76. And 3, again it is 76, because we are getting two L's in the index value 2 and 3. So that's what. And we can verify the same stuff with Python. So I'm using Python 3 interpreter in order to verify it, and the function is called chr. chr in bracket we have to give the ASCII, and ASCII is nothing but H. If I give, actually I have to use the number here. So I'm simply giving 78. Here you can see the character code of 78, which is the function, and the equivalent alphabet, the ASCII is capital N. So this is how you have to validate. If I give the value 72, then we will get H, which is what we have seen here. And the same concept they are using here. So from 0 to 4 they are just checking the character code, which means if I am giving the word admin, then it will see from the index 0. Index 0 is nothing but, in index 0 we are having the character a, so it will pass the a within this function. So when the character code of a, what we are getting, and for that we need to use the ordinal function. In the ordinal function, within the quotation mark, I'm just passing the alphabet A. The value is 97, and alphabet D, and the value is 100, and the alphabet M, the value is 109. So this is how it calculates the character code of the equivalent ASCII, the ASCII, character code of ASCII. Now you can see this specific if statement. In the if statement, once they collected the character code of the characters in our username and the password, it is simply comparing the character code with these character code numbers. So let's see what it is. The 4857. Let's see what it is. 48, it is nothing but 0, and 57, it is 9. So this statement denotes the character code value between 0 to 9, including 0 and 9. So that is what it all about. The character code greater than or equal to 48 and the character code less than or equal to 57, and which is nothing but the AND operator. And you can see 65 and 90. Let's see what it denotes. 65. 65 represents capital A, and 90 represents capital Z. So any value between capital A and capital Z. And you can see the next thing, 97 and 122. 97 small a, 122 would be a small z. Yeah, it is. So what this specific line defines? Actually, this specific code blocks validates whether the user is giving valid username or password, which means the username and the password with alphabets and numbers are accepted. So that is what it validates. You can see here in the application itself, only letters and numbers are allowed for username and password, and that's what is getting verified in this specific code block. If the if the condition fulfilled, then it passes, otherwise it fails. If I scroll down further, I can see there is another variable or object, you can say, username filter passed and the password filter passed. So whatever the output we are getting from this function, they are passing it into this variable, and they are simply putting it in a if statement with the AND operator when both these conditions satisfy, which means when the user gives valid username and password, then only this code block is getting verified. When the user enters the valid username and password, there is another function called check password. In the check password gets both the user entered username and the password. But let's see the function definition, because we are only having the function call check for the check password here. But when I try to get the function definition check password, I don't see anything in this code. So we have to find the function definition for this specific function. But let's see the next subsequent lines. When this specific check password is verified, based on this outcome, the logged in, we can, this application gives the response back to the user. If the valid logins are entered, if the valid credentials are entered, then it allows the user to log in. So you will be getting this message and a secret page. If you're not entering a valid password, then uh, it gives the message called login failed. If you are entering any illegal characters, which means any characters other than alphabets and the numbers, then you will be getting this specific illegal character in username or password alert. We have seen this already when we are testing the input here in this web application. Now, all we need to do is finding this check password function definition. I'll tell you how to do that. But before that, I made sure I turned off the proxy. Now I'm simply giving the guest as an username and the password. But before that, let's see the page source. I'm pressing Control U here in Firefox in order to verify the page source. So here you can see the page source. It's simply the HTML document, HTML stuff. When I click this login.php, there is a link, there is a hyperlink. You can see at the bottom, left bottom, there is a link which is routing to login.php. If I click this, I can see the set of code that which we already gone through. This code we already analyzed and we found the logic behind that character acceptance. And all we need to find is this check password function definition, which is not still present here. But if you see carefully, you can find the word secure.js, which is actually referring an external JavaScript, a separate JavaScript, secure.js. If I am keeping my cursor over this link, you can see the left bottom. It is actually routing to a document called secure.js. I'm simply clicking this secure.js link, and here is the function definition. So I am simply pasting this here in the existing code block, the function definition. Now you can see the check password function we found, and it is getting the username and password as an argument. And in the if else statement, you can see it actually compares the username and the password that we are entering with the already existing value, which is nothing but the correct username and password. So this is the username and this is the password. Now, why don't we try this username and password into the actual web application and get the flag? So here is the username and here is the password. Now, when I click login, I am simply obtaining the flag. Putting the flag here and submitting, I'll be able to finish this exercise. But before that, we forgot to see the hint. Let's see what it is. How is the password checked on this website? Actually, here they are giving the hint to examine the logic behind the authentication, and that is what we did a while ago. Now I'm simply submitting this flag and I'm accomplishing this challenge. So yeah, an interesting easy one, a simple challenge, which really I hope which really helped you to learn something. If you really did, feel free to hit the like button and consider subscribing my channel. If you have any other opinion, put it in the comment section. You can also share this video among your friends. I'll catch you next time with another exciting video. Until then, I'm signing off. Cheers, and I love you all. Thank you so much.